Hi everyone, I'm April, and you're watching The Tangled Cat Speaks, and this is a crafty edition. So, here I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It is August. July was so hot, and August doesn't seem like it's going to be cooling down anytime soon. But I did manage to finish one big project, and then I went into a whole bunch of little ones because it's hot. And this was an entirely crochet month. So let's talk about what I worked on. So the big one, let's talk about the big one. I have been working on this one for quite a while. Kept picking it up, putting it down for various reasons, but I had so much fun with it. And I definitely should have used a smaller hook. The pattern is called Passage. I don't remember the name of the designer. I'll put it up here. But it called for an H hook. And I know that I crochet looser, so I should have gone down to a G, but I didn't think about it. I was just so excited to start this one because it's a very interesting looking pattern. And so I used the H, and it is way bigger than I thought it was going to be. And I used a little bit more yarn than I meant to, because one of the colors, the yellow, I had 4 skeins, and I was planning on using one of the skeins in a whole different project. So I was planning on using just 3, so that didn't work out. I ended up using 3.5. So we'll see what I'm going to do with the rest of that yellow. But this, I'm going to start with the center because that is the focal point. It is a long rectangular wrap that has crocheted cables that involve front post double crochets. No, front post triple crochets. This is American crochet terms. But it was front post triple crochets, and then it also involves making cables out of Jacob's ladder looping. I don't know what it's called, but this is the center, and you can see if you start at one end, you can see that there are these are the cables here, and these are the Jacob ladder's loops. So you make a double crochet, and then you chain however many the pattern says, and then you slip stitch back into the top of that same double crochet, leaving a loop. You leave those loops kind of dangling, and then at the end you start looping them to kind of looping them through each other, and that's how you get, and then you do it in a specific way to where you get these cables that kind of twist through each other. And as you get to the center, the pattern has you veering off, and you start making this center part, and then it starts going back to where the cables realign themselves back with the edging. Now, my color placement is very different than what the pattern calls for. The pattern is, I think it's 5 colorways, and they're, it's like a big block section, and then sort of alternating rows at one point, so that you do one row of the color you've been using, one row of the new color, one row of the old color, and then all of the new color, and you keep doing that for each consecutive one. Fading, you're fading the colors. I wasn't sure how much yarn I was going to have, particularly of this blue, so I chose to start and end with the blue. I did a little bit of math, and then so I chose to start, and then I just did 2 rows of each color until I got halfway through the amount of blue. Then I used solid yellow, and then did the other half of blue and yellow, ending in solid blue. So the colors, the yellow is actually yellow with sort of pastel and pastel colors, purples, pinks. I think there's some oranges in there. And that is Sock Obsession yarns, and this was their Resilient DK. I think the pattern actually might have called for worsted. I can't remember if it was worsted or DK. I use DK. So this is Resilient DK, and like I said, I used 3.5 skeins of that. The blue is Aquamarine Dream, and this is a Southern Skeins single DK. So there's two very different types of yarn. One, the yellow is applied yarn. The blue is an unplied yarn. So I wasn't sure, but so far so good. I haven't washed or blocked this, and I don't plan to until it comes time for me to actually need to wash it. I think it's just gonna grow even bigger than what it is when I do end up washing it. So right now I'm happy with what it looks like. I'm happy with the size. I'm just gonna leave it. It's so long. This is gotta be at least 30 inches from the back of the neck to the bottom. So width-wise, I guess, but the length of this thing, this thing is got to be at least 90 inches. I haven't officially measured it or anything, but it is so huge. And oh my gosh, it's awful putting this on right now because it is so hot. But I know that from fingertip to fingertip, I am, my wingspan is 63 inches. And this is how much I have from fingertip to fingertip left over. So that's gotta be even more than 90 inches. But yeah, it's so big, but it's so cozy. Yeah, I can't wait for winter so I can actually wear it. But right now I'm gonna take it off because I'm hot. But I used all but maybe like 2 grams of the blue. I have had about half a skein left of the yellow, like I said, and I'm going to use that in something else. I don't know what yet, but that's that. That was done, like I said, on an H hook. Then I was wandering through I think it was a Hobby Lobby. I needed to go get a skein of yarn because at that particular time a friend of mine wanted to hang out at like an outdoor kind of event in her neighborhood, and there was going to be music and food and blah blah blah. And I didn't know until the last minute that she was going to bring her crochet or her knitting, and I didn't have any knitting with me. I literally left to work that day, and then she was like, did you bring yarn? And I'm like, oh no. So I went on my lunch break to the nearest yarn place, which happened to be a Hobby Lobby, and I picked up a skein of Yarn Bees Sugar Wheel, and the colorway is called Parisian Sweet Shop, and it's very long color runs, and there's not really a transition between colors. It's just an abrupt change. And these are the colors that were in that sugar wheel. Now, what happened was I only got, I think I started with the purple, and I got just to the very beginning of the pink. And then, you know, we were done hanging out for the evening, and I ended up a few days later going to see Odyssey in the theater, and I went ahead and brought my crochet with me because this is done corner to corner, and I can do that 98% without looking. So, and I knew I was going to just go until I finished the skein, and then I was gonna seam it up, and that's exactly what I did. The one thing that I did differently was when I got to a color change, and if the color change ended up in the middle of a row, I pulled it back to excuse me, to the beginning of that row and cut it, and then rejoined at the very beginning of the next color, so that the color changes always happened at the edge of a row. So I did have some left over. I was thinking maybe making a flower, but then I got distracted with something else. So the color changes are pretty. They're pretty. And so I ended up with an infinity scarf that I think can be very snugly doubled. And it would be so nice if it was cold right now so that you could see this, but super pretty. And this yarn, this sugar wheel does, I don't know if you could see it on camera, but there are sparkles. You can kind of see a little bit of a shine on camera. It's much more so in person. And I really love this. It's super pretty. But I wasn't done with corner to corner crochet cowls. I went, as soon as I finished that, I didn't finish it in the movie. I got very close, but there was a lot of dark moments in the movie. There was enough light for me to do most of it, but some of it was just too dark, and I really couldn't get through parts of it. Like, the only part that I can't do without looking in this particular type of pattern is the increase edge. So you have to chain 6 and then work into the chains, and that's hard to do blind. So yeah, there were some parts where I had to like stop and wait for a moment of brightness in the movie so that I could work on it. So I did end up having to finish it after the movie. That was done also on an H hook. And then another H hook pattern. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Oh no, this one I did on an I. Don't know why. Probably because I couldn't find my H, maybe. I don't know. But I ended up doing this one on an I. And this was a skein of Plymouth Yarns Diversity sock yarn. And I want to say this is an acrylic sock yarn. And I had tried starting a pair of socks with this colorway, but I decided that I didn't care for it as it was knitting up as much as I liked it in this skein. It's one of those long color runs, and it alternated between white, fuchsia, purple, brown, and like a lime green. And like I said, in the skein, it looked really cool. Knit or crocheted up, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So what I ended up doing with this was holding the two ends together. So I held it double using an eye hook, and I did the corner to corner and just let the colors just do whatever they were going to do. So I did not do the same thing with this one where I was deliberately thinking about where to change where the color changes were. This one I just let the color changes happen. It's like in here you can see two white strands ended up together there, but pretty much you've got two different colors for most of this. I think there's a solid pink somewhere, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I was dreaming that. I don't know. But this one is not quite as long as the other one, so you can't wear this one double unless it's like for a child. But it'll still be nice and cozy to wear under your jacket. Now, this is going to go into a bag that I am slowly filling with things to donate to the needy for winter. Another thing that I did was a glitch. A cowl. This was using leftover yarns, and I'll talk about the pattern, the project that I made originally with this yarn, but the leftover yarns from that project turned into this cowl. And this is obviously not going to be wrapped in any way, shape, or form. Ooh, I'm gonna mess up the hair. I hope I don't get my earrings caught in it. Okay, who cares? whatever. But this is definitely much closer to the neck. And I don't remember the name. I've had both of these yarns for ages. I don't remember the brand or the colorways for either one of these. Oh my God. Okay, hot flash is happening. If I start glistening, you know why. Woo. Heat wave and a hot flash at the same time. Disgusting. So this was the leftover yarn that I used. This was also done on an H hook. Now I got this, I don't know if it's not a bobble. I don't know what to call this, but it's a very interesting little stitch. But I got it from the pattern that I originally used this yarn for, and that is, I'm going to have to show you a picture because this was a gift for someone. Wow. This was a gift for someone and I already sent it off. She's already received it. So this is the picture, and this is called the Thunder Snow book sleeve. The person that I gave it to is my great niece, and she has sent me a letter recently and said she wanted to be my pen pal, and she is learning to crochet. She's made quite a few little projects here and there, and she's also mentioned in her little letter that she wants to start a business making bracelets and different items. Her and a little school friend are going to make, sorry, this is a bad one. Holy Hannah, wow. So she's going to start this little business, and so I thought I was going to make her something that she can use. So I thought a book sleeve would be cool. She can keep notebooks with all her ideas and maybe pattern notes, project notes, whatever, in a notebook. And I made the book bag to fit a set of notebooks that I shipped off to her with the bag. And then I don't know who I am because I don't like to sew, but I did sew in by hand a lining with cats on the inside so that the bag doesn't stretch. So yeah, she's worth it. She is worth me enduring hours upon hours of tiny little stitches, hand sewn. It was a very fun project, and I got bit by mosquitoes because I was sitting out on my patio well into the evening making this thing over a weekend, both on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was sitting back there in the patio, and the mosquitoes were like, "Oh, hey, hi." So yeah, my arms were all bit up, my legs were all bit up, but it's okay. She's worth it, and I really can't wait for her little business to get started and to find out all about it. So yes, my great niece does have her bag, and that is all that I did in July. What am I working on right now? Where did it go? Where? Oh, there it is. So I did not just do that. Oh God. I'm dropping it. So I've mentioned before that I have been into anime within the past few years, and one that I am watching, the current one that I'm watching, is a newer one, and it's called Witch Hat Atelier, and it's about these little girls who are training to become witches, and it's a very cute, very sweet little anime. And there is a animal companion, and it's called a brush buddy, and he is just the most adorable thing. And I have been wanting a brush buddy of my very own, but I didn't really think too hard on trying to find a pattern or anything. And my son is like, "Hey Mom, you've seen Witch Hat Atelier, you know what a brush buddy is, right?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "Well, Maya, future daughter-in-law. He says Maya would love a brush buddy, and her birthday is coming up soon. I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. So I'll put a picture of what a brush buddy looks like, but this is the head. And actually, again, I probably could have gone with a thinner fur yarn, but this is the one that I found, and that has the texture that I want. Oh my god, it's so fluffy. So this thing is probably going to be bigger than I intended, because this is just the head, and that he's got a long body, short little legs, long body, and then a super long tail that he wraps around himself. This pattern is, or this project is going to have pipe cleaners in so that you can adjust the shape of his body and his tail. And oh my gosh, I am super excited for the end product, and just seeing the cute little eyes. This guy has no nose, no mouth, it's just eyes. I think in the anime there are a couple of scenes where he's eating and he's chewing, and that's the only time you see his mouth, because he's got like a line of a mouth, and he's got cute little lines to show that he's got full cheeks full of food. But for the most part, the only thing on his face are his eyes, so that's all he's getting. It's just the most, it's already super adorable. But this yarn I got off of the dreaded Amazon. But I was looking for something not expensive, and I don't know what this is. There's literally nothing else on the label. Nothing. So it says cotton yarn. That's all it says. I don't know yardage. I don't know anything, but I got 4 skeins hoping that that's going to be enough. I was thinking 4 skeins is going to be enough to make one for Maya and then one for myself, but as I'm crocheting it and I'm seeing just the head has already used probably just over half of the skein, I might end up using all 4 for one and then having to get more yarn to make one for myself. But it's so cute. So I'm super excited. I'm probably going to be working on this for a while because it's hard to see the stitches. I can't see any stitches at all. So I'm basically dabbing in and hoping that it's grabbing something. I've got stitch markers, 6 evenly spaced, because I'm supposed to have 30 stitches around. So I've got 6 evenly spaced, and I know in between each set of markers there should be 5 stitches. So I'm just stabbing in and fitting 5 stitches here, 5 stitches here, all the way around, and it seems to be working, but I'm for sure not going directly into an actual stitch at any point. So yeah, we're just gonna keep on going now, and then I'll have to make the little legs. They're short little legs, gonna be using this yarn, and then I think I've got some black acrylic that I'll be using for the little feet. That is all that I will be up to for however long it takes me to finish these. Now I did notice that after finishing this, I did this in about 4 hours on Saturday, and my hand was starting to hurt, and I don't know if it's because I'm so not sure where I'm sticking the hook that I'm gripping it extra tight, either out of anxiety or I don't know what, but my hand was starting to hurt. So I had to put it down for a little while, so I'll probably only be working on this thing here and there, just so that I don't start causing myself pain. In the meantime, I will probably just work on something mindless and easy to do, so that I still want to keep working on something, but not anything that's gonna make me hurt. So I don't know, I'll have to go look at something that I've already started, or I don't know what, but it's definitely going to be something less intense than working on this. But it's okay. She's another person who is worth me making things for, because she likes the couple of things that I've made for her, but she doesn't ask. But she is definitely getting this. I'm doing it. She didn't ask, my son did, and I'm like, yes, absolutely. So yeah, that's what I got going on. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know, do you enjoy making gifts for other people? Do you enjoy being asked to make gifts for someone? Or are you more, if you are a gift giver, are you the kind that just makes a gift and says, oh, I'm going to give this to so-and-so without any forethought until it's done, and then you're like, I have an idea. Let me know. I'd love to hear what you're working on, and I will see you again next time. Bye.